Hi, my name's Claire Johnson and I work for a company called the Primary Business Partnership. When I was your age, what I really wanted to do when I grew up was to become a vet. I absolutely loved animals and I wanted to care for them, and I thought it would be the perfect career for me. But if to become a vet, you actually have to be cleverer to be a vet than you do to be a doctor, because actually when you're treating animals, one day you could be looking at a tiny little lizard, and another day you might actually be having to treat something like a dog or a horse. So there are lots and lots of different type of animals that you could be treating in your working day. I found primary school great. I absolutely loved it and I made some fantastic friends and it was brilliant. It was just one of the best times of my lives, and I'm hoping that you guys are finding that too. Secondary school was also great and I made some fantastic friends, and I would say that actually that was one of the best things about secondary school, is forging those friendships that you actually now keep for life. The other great thing about my secondary school was that it was my biology teacher, and she was called Mrs. Patefield. Now, she inspired me to want to carry on and do science for my career. When I left school, I did decide that I wanted to do an environmental science degree, so I did carry on and go to university after I left secondary school. I enjoyed it so much that I actually decided to stay on and carry on doing research, and I decided to do a PhD. So I spent 3 years studying, and then I wrote this massive book of all of my research and all of my experiments, and the topic of my PhD was actually ammonia deposition from grazing animals. Now, I don't know whether any of you can guess where ammonia comes from, which part of an animal it might come from. I don't know whether you said poo and wee, but if you did, you're correct. And so I spent 3 years studying the gases that come off poo and wee from cows and sheep. And I have to admit, probably my claim to fame is that I'm the only person in the UK that has made artificial sheep's wee-wee in a laboratory. And I've lived here for 19 years now, so quite a long time. And over that time, I've worked for various different companies. I've always done environmental consultancy work though, and part of my job was having to go down to JCB. And can any of you tell me what colour JCBs are? Yeah, that's right. They're that really, really bright yellow colour, aren't they? And what they do in the JCB factory is they've got these big paint spraying machines, and they spray all that yellow paint all over the diggers and the loaders and things like that to make them this bright yellow colour. And some of the fumes and the constituents of that paint are actually toxic. So they go up into a big chimney and they go out into the atmosphere. So what I did was I had to measure the gases that were coming out of these chimneys and work out if they had an impact, a health impact, on some of the people living around the JCB factory. I've also spent time working for Sellafield and a company called Jacobs, which is a big engineering company. And I now find myself working for the Primary Business Partnership. Now, one of the best things about my job was to come out into the schools and tell all of you guys all of the fantastic things about different types of careers and jobs that you can do in Cumbria and around the whole world. I do have lots of hobbies. I love cooking, and I have to say my dream job is to probably own a little cafe somewhere. The other thing that I am is I'm actually a trustee and the treasurer, which means that I do all the finances and the money side of a charity called the Friends of Chernobyl's Charity, North and West Cumbria. We bring children over from Belarus. So this is the UK here, and then if you see over here, this is the little country that is outlined in blue. I've got my finger right over it at the moment. That is Belarus. So we bring children over there from Belarus for a month each year. And the reason we do that is because if you see the yellow country underneath, this is called Ukraine. And about just over 30 years ago, there was a massive explosion in one of the nuclear reactors in a place called Chernobyl. And basically what happened was that radioactive material got put up into the air, into the atmosphere, and then it blew over Belarus, and then it got deposited on Belarus. And so a lot of the soil and farmland, etc., in Belarus is still quite contaminated. So we try and bring sort of 10 to 12 children over each year to be able to sample the beautiful countryside around West Cumbria, eat healthy food, and breathe in the beautiful fresh air. So I think that just about sums it up for me. So that is my career story and a little bit about my life. So that is me signing off, Claire Johnson, as part of the Primary Business Partnership. Bye bye.